Isaiah, you talk about that getting traded, obviously what you went through with your injury, what you went through with the passing of your sister, and that's incredibly difficult times. But I'm wondering, outside of that year in Boston and then Cleveland after that, outside of any physical stuff that you had, what was the most frustrating time in your career as a player where you felt like, man, I'm just not getting the respect or the opportunity that I deserve?
I mean, I think my first 4 years in the league, like my first four, obviously my first few years, I got to prove that, I belong in the league. So I understand like fighting for my opportunity. But at the end of my rookie year, the last probably 30 games of my rookie year, I was starting. So I started my last 30 games of my rookie year. I showcased that I can start and play at a high level. Going into my second year, the Sacramento Kings brought another guard in, Aaron Brooks, which was a mentor of mine, somebody that grew up in my backyard and I looked up to. And I had beat out for the starting job my second year. Going into my third year, they traded for Grievous Vasquez, which was a bigger guard. And it was every year, it was just always something. Like it was like, oh, we need a bigger guard to win. We need this. Beat him out. They end up trading him. I started that year, averaged 20 points a game, 6 assists. I ended up going to the Phoenix Suns that summer, not knowing that, I would be in the backcourt of Eric Bledsoe and Dragic. I end up, to the outside looking in, I kind of end up outplaying those two guys that season. And I wasn't really getting my just due, but I fell into the role of being a, sixth, seventh man and doing what was best for the team. Then I get traded to Boston, where Boston needed me and I needed them. They gave me the opportunity.
We did.
You already know. They gave me the opportunity to showcase who I was and who I'm capable of being. And I took that opportunity and ran with it. And I think at that point in time, the world knew, and not sound humble, but the world knew how good I was with every opportunity I got. Once I got that opportunity for playing for, one of the most legendary franchises and doing the same type of things I've done, my previous 4 years, the world started to take notice. The world started to see, okay, he's not playing no games. With given an opportunity, he's one of the best guards in the world. Then, I think it was my 5th or 6th year where, I was able to be an all-star. Then my next year, able to be all NBA and be in the MVP conversation. I think at that point, I solidified myself to the world as being, you could say, a top 10 player in the world. I was second team all NBA. And if I didn't get hurt, it was only going to go up from there. Like I already figured the game out individually. My team was a number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, so we were a top seeded team. It wasn't like I was getting numbers on a losing squad. The next year we got Gordon Hayward, we drafted Jason Tatum. Like it was all coming together. I promise you we would probably won the finals the next year. Like that's how good things were, and that's how great my game was going in terms of figuring the game out. I was going to be MVP the next year, I promise you. Like, I already figured the game out, already wrote down my goals. Like, everything was going to happen because it was supposed to happen like that. But I think during those years of Boston, the world figured out that I wasn't playing no games, and I was able to impact the organization in more ways than just scoring. Things happen, and you just move on, and you continue to, believe in God and believe that everything happens for a reason. And I always look back and cherish those moments of being in those spaces and being on top. It was super dope because I always dreamed of those moments and I always worked for those moments. So when those moments came, it was like, I would just smile, put a smile on my face because I already seen those moments happen in my head. And they just happened to happen in front of the whole world. And it was just super dope to see it lay out like it did, for sure.
Isaiah, before we let you go, I do have one question. I've heard stories about the explanation behind this, but I want to hear it from you, the actual reason why your name is Isaiah Thomas. I'll tell you what I heard. The rumor I heard was that your dad was a huge Laker fan, and he lost a bet when the Pistons beat the Lakers, and as a result of losing that bet, he had to name you Isaiah Thomas after the great Isaiah Thomas. I don't know if that's just a legend that people made up or if that's the real story. So please, once and for all, give us the real story of how you ended up with your name.
So look, that's what I'm told as well. So my parents have told me that, but there's two sides to it. My name is spelled different because my mom grew up in church, so she wanted it spelled the biblical way.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two sides to the story. My dad is born and raised, my dad's side of the family born and raised in Inglewood, California. I'm a brainwashed Laker fan, so growing up I was brainwashed to be a Laker fan. Kobe's my favorite player ever. So that was one side to it. And then the other side to where it always has to get out or somebody's going to get in trouble is my mom wanted it spelled the biblical way. So that's the only reason why my name is spelled different. My family calls me Zeke, like the older Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is one of my mentors to this day. So it's super dope to be able to be named after one of the greatest basketball players ever. But it is frustrating at times. Like until I got my name, until I hit the scene of being a household name, it's funny. Like I go to airports, a car is waiting for me or something. They have a sign of Isaiah Thomas. It'll be an older gentleman. He's like looking like where like the one time he's like, I'm like, oh, that's me. And he's like, no, I'm waiting for Isaiah Thomas. I'm like, oh, that is me. I'm going back and forth with him because he's thinking it's the older Isaiah Thomas. And I'm like, nah, I know who you're talking about, but my name is Isaiah Thomas. And I'm sorry that it made your energy go down because he was meeting somebody that you probably watched when you were a little younger. So I get those things every now and then. But now since, I was able to hit the top of the top in the NBA, I don't get those things no more. Like I think they think of me first, especially the younger generation.
Right.
They think of me first now. So that's really cool.
His name is Isaiah Thomas. Spell it right with the Isaiah Thomas. Thank you for joining us on Oddball.
I appreciate you guys. It's all love. Thank you for the love and support.